Hi, this is Andrea Pietrabissa from Pavia, Italy, and I'm happy today to reply to a list of questions that were addressed by Dr. Polino and Dr. Bellato from the Communication Committee of the European Society of Coloproctology. And the topic of this interview is sustainability and surgery. I think sustainability has to do with respect for the environment and respect for nature that supports us all. An issue which has been overlooked for too many decades so far. I think it has to be a partnership, and the wider this partnership, the better it will be. Having said that, surgeons are key positions within our hospital to lead this change as natural leaders. And so we must feel this responsibility, and particularly the new generations, the residents, should be triggered to act to change. I think there's no misconception about sustainability in medicine. It is simply a totally neglected and overlooked concept. I've been witnessing the change in the 80s from reusable devices in surgery to almost everything single use, which is today landscape. And this has occurred very quickly, and we simply didn't pay attention to that, and we now have to pay a very expensive bill because of this attitude. So we need to do something, and it's not too late as long as we are able to drive this change. I'm afraid there's no a huge goal being achieved by the category of surgeons around the world today. We are just in the middle of the storm, and we need to find out an exit strategy for this, both as far as sustainability in surgery, but also as a equitable access to surgical and anesthesia care worldwide, what is better known as global surgery issue. Well, I'm not sure I'm in the position to judge, which nation behaved better than others. As far as I know, the Australia, uh, because of the national regulation, which are more flexible than the one we have in Europe, they have done significant progress in terms of capability to recycle single-use devices and also in sparing sorting items in the OR and addressing those items to a second life. There are several examples done by hospitals in Australia and New Zealand, and I think that they are in the forefront as far as sustainability in the OR. To my knowledge, they've also been able to partner with major players in the industry of single-use devices like J&J and Medtronic. And but again, additional information can be found in the website. Question 7. Medical equipment accounts for 10% of the carbon footprint of NHS, which is 4% of England's overall carbon footprint. Operating theatre is most resource-intensive area of the hospital and account for 25-30% of total hospital waste. Are surgeons aware of the situation, and how many are actively searching for green solutions? Well, I don't know. I am aware of the problem, and I'm trying to do my best to spread this awareness in as far as I can reach other surgeons. Indeed, it is a huge paradox that the operating theater, which is the center of the highest technological care we can think of, is also the top um, um, producer of pollution for the environment in the healthcare sector. So we need to fix this paradox somehow. And there are ways that later on I will address how we can manage this problem. So are surgeons aware? I think they are not. And the best thing that you can do is to create a green team inside your hospital. A green team is a multi-specialty team of doctors, nurses, clinicians, engineers, and so on, based in your hospital, which has the target to address environmental issues. That could be electric mobility to reach the hospital, you know, fighting the use of plastics, but also trying to recycle as much as possible in the OR. Number one, create your own green team in your hospital. Ideas will follow. Again, if you look in the website, there are plenty of information on how a green team should organize itself and what can be done to address this topic. And we need to target residents and new generations of surgeons because they will make the decision in the years to come. And also they represent one of the target of the single-use device companies, and they would pay attention to the um, drivers that would be put on the ground by these people in the future. The big players in the market of single-use devices are already focusing this topic because they understood ahead of time that future purchasing of medical devices will also take into due account sustainability. And I think the best way for them is again to partner with surgeons. We are doing that in my hospital. There are two directions we are taking in the OR in my hospital. Number one is sorting all the packaging before the patient enters the OR. So this is mislabeled as biohazard waste, but if we do a separate sorting before the patient enters the OR, all the packaging can be forwarded to a second life. I'm talking about polypropylene, PVC, and so on. So we have now able to spare 1/3 of the total weight of biohazard waste from the OR to and address those material to a second life. So this is number one. Number two is partnering with producers of single-use devices. What can be done is to increase the responsibility of the industry. So the industry at the end of the day should be able to recollect used items and make sure that those items are forwarded to a second life, not by cleaning and re-sterilization, because that is not allowed by many national regulations. But what can be done is to disassemble used items, and then the plastic and metallic components, those will be forwarded to their second life. And that can be done. And we are working on a project with J&J in my hospital at the moment. So I think the best that we can do as individual surgeon, and also societies, surgical societies worldwide, is to light up on the problem. So there's a problem of sustainability, of environmental damage which is produced by surgery, and there is a problem of global surgery in the poorest countries of the world. And as long as we are aware of this problem, we might also be able to find solutions and to push our governments into that direction. So that is important part that we can promote, spread awareness on these problems and trigger a cultural transformation. We could make one step backwards and increase the proportion of reusable instruments and devices that we use in our practice. That could be done, and indeed that's one of the top priority of a green team. Reconsider the use of reusable devices in your OR when that is safe for the patient. Of course, I'm not talking about staplers, but maybe trocars, or other simple devices could be, we could go back to reusable. But we are talking here of a drop in the ocean, so this is not likely to be the problem. And I'm skeptical about our capacity to stop the revolution that has occurred with the introduction of so many single-use items in our profession. Um, um, we need money, of course, to those countries. And again, the most important step is the creation of small hospitals capable of delivering simple procedures, like the one I mentioned. So cesarean section, laparotomy, and bone fractures. Small hospitals like this will address many more problems in low and middle income countries, including vaccination, just to give an example, which is very close to our thoughts today. The future should change, and you can be the change as long as you understand and you are willing to act. So once again, it was a privilege to answer to this list of smart questions, and I hope you enjoy this interview. And if there's any additional question you want to address me, you can write me an email to andrea.pietrabissa at gmail.com.